Movie Wars.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Movie Wars podcast.
Woo!
I'm your host, Kyle.
I'm Seth.
Jose Luis.
He's back popping zins, Mr. Josh Lewis, Nashville comedians.
The Zen Popper over
Zen
here.
Popper.
I just recently learned that my name, Joshua, in Spanish is Josue.
Oh.
So now I've been trying to go by that. Like the,
So now you're the gay Jose?
Thank you.
Josue.
Is there a lot of situations where you need to pull that out?
Just my part-time job at a pizza place that's connected to an Italian restaurant that has has a large population of Mexicans that work in the
That tracks for
in the
Nashville.
restaurant. Yeah. And then one day she just couldn't. There was a lady and she just could not say my name. She only wants to speak Spanish to me. I can't speak really any Spanish. And then one day she was like, "What is your name?" And I was just like, Joshua. And she just stared at me. And then I just pulled out my phone and said, "What is Joshua in Spanish?" And I showed it to her and she went, "Oh, Josue." And then my middle name's David, just to make it plainer. But in Spanish, it's Josue David.
Whoa.
And then my last name's being Lewis.
You're a soap opera star down south.
Oh, dude, I should. There's no reason for me to stay in America.
Yeah.
Right now. Deport me now. I don't mean to put a timestamp on this.
Speaking of deportation, we're doing Dredd today, 2012's Dredd. We just did Judge
yeah.
Dredd. And it was funny because you brought up doing Dredd, and I saw it on your list. I was like, oh, I haven't watched the Dredd movie because
Yeah.
obviously I'm a big Sylvester Stallone fan, and then was like, well, let's just do both of them. And wow, like two totally different
and
interpretations.
day.
Yeah, two.
Only things similar were the guns and the helmets. Like,
Yeah.
That was it.
Even the uniforms were different. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
like these uniforms better.
Yeah. They did a really good job at setting up a world and keeping everything contained to where you're not trying to figure too much out. You're presented with this world where you have entire city blocks that are 200-story tall buildings that 80,000 people can live in at a time, all sprinkled throughout regular-looking buildings, and you find out that from Washington, D.C. to Boston is one city now,
Yeah.
and everything in between. But then after that, you're pretty much contained in one building for the entire movie.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Which was very much cyberpunk. Like they did that in the game
Yeah.
Cyberpunk. Yeah,
Yep.
it's very.
Again, it's like you're not trying to figure too much out. You know just enough about the world for everything that's happening in front of you to make sense, but it's also
Yeah.
like, I could learn more.
They do a good job injecting you into the world. That was one of the biggest differences is that I felt like I was a little more absorbed
Yeah.
into what was happening and into the
Absolutely.
world they had created.
I kind of, in a way, I think because I watched Judge Dredd followed by Dredd damn near in one sitting.
Yeah.
Like a maniac.
Yeah.
That I, at points during the Dredd movie, I went, is this movie that good because Judge Dredd is that bad?
Mm.
Or is this movie just self-contained good? Hopefully you guys watch this with like a
I've
breath
seen,
in between.
Yeah.
I had seen Dredd the year it came out. I had no idea what Judge Dredd was. I didn't even know it was a Sylvester Stallone movie at the time. Again, I was 18, had just come out of being a Christian homeschooler.
Hell yeah.
First year or first semester through Belmont, so Christian school. So like 18-year-old Seth was not prepared for the graphic violence that he saw that day. But I do remember by the end of it still enjoying the experience. Like
Yeah.
the story that it told, I think was very well done. My favorite thing was absolutely the way they handled the slow-mo. I'm sure every Snyder hater out there is just like, fuck this movie. What is it discount Zack Snyder and it's already shit? Like there's so much slow-mo. I'm like, no, it was cool. It was really fun. And the way that they were able to cover up some of the cheap animation as far as like the blood splatter and stuff is concerned by using that kind of rainbow effect.
Yeah.
Like I just, there's so much of this came together for me.
There had to be something in the cinematographer, the director, whoever,
Yeah.
that just went, this is the new Sin City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what filmmaking for
Yeah.
these types of movies are going to look like for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
We got in on the forefront. Check it out. By the way, this is the second time I've watched this movie. I've forgotten totally about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remembered taking a Gatling gun, blowing
Four of them.
four of them, destroying everything.
Yeah.
I remember just boom, just killing.
Yeah.
And I sort of remember the psychic girl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I
totally
remember.
forgot even about the psychic girl.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is maybe the third time I've ever seen this movie. And yeah, I completely forgot about her. Really, all I remembered was Carl Urban never takes his helmet off, and a very like out of place almost Lena Headey as the villain, because I'm very used to her as Cersei from Game of Thrones. Even though I actually didn't realize until later, I have been a fan of hers since the 90s when she was in Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book with Jason Scott Lee, Cary Elwes, Sam Neill, and John Cleese. Live action version of The Jungle Book from the 90s.
Don't recall that at all.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a very young Lena Headey is in that movie, and that is an underrated movie.
When I looked at her on IMDb when I was doing my research after I watched it, I couldn't believe the difference between how she looked in the movie and how she looks in real life.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
And yet, so the girl I was watching it with last night, we were watching it, and she came on screen, and I was like, she's hot enough that even with the scar, I'd still do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'd still go there.
Little meth mouth, never hurt anybody.
Yeah. No, that works.
Yeah.
By the way, one of the things that they really bombed at is showing the degradation of her teeth.
Yeah.
Is that in one scene they were like green, another one they
Yeah.
were yellow. Then they do a close up and she literally had black spots on her teeth. Where I was just like, it's taking me out of it a little bit.
Yeah, this is definitely not a perfect movie. It's miles above where the first one was.
Yeah.
But there were definitely some, if you want to get even just a little nitpicky, there's definitely some continuity errors. But overall, I absolutely loved this movie significantly more than the first one.
I didn't watch them, even though we're doing them because they are the same, universe and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't watch them for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a distance between. Like, I don't know that there was really an impetus to reboot the old movie. I think somebody. And Carl Urban himself is apparently a diehard Dredd fan of the comics. And apparently there was just a desire to make a true-to-form film. But I don't know that they even looked at the old one. I bet somebody did. But I don't know that they were trying to improve on the old one. I think they really wanted to do their own thing.
Every now and then, I would get a little bit of a throwback. And it was mostly the few times Carl Urban had like a solid catchphrase one-liner kind of moment.
I am the law.
Yeah, and it was like I said in the last episode, it was like 10% in this one of what they did in the first one. So it's like I think they wanted to at least pay homage to what had been done without any direct references to it.
And they were totally willing to show violence.
Yeah.
There was no.
Oh my god. That scene I still to this day love. Weirdly love the scene where it's like she's like skin him and throw him off the balcony, and then just but like having it be, you don't see the skinned bodies, you just are first person perspective, you are the guy getting thrown, and then the transition when he puts the slow-mo in his mouth, and it just all of that sequence was absolutely flawless for me.
Yeah, and we also get some action in the world, too. Like, we don't get a ton, but we get enough to know that, like, the opening car chase scene.
Yeah.
I love how that kind of, like, pulled us into, like, okay, that was already a step ahead of what Judge Dredd did.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like there was this big, crazy world that we had zero, we hadn't been exposed to it at all.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, I'm like, whoa, there's so many interesting stories. We're seeing little interesting stories in the world immediately.
I also like that they're pretty vague about how far in the future this one is, because I'm pretty sure in Judge Dredd they say 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Doesn't look 1,000 years from now. This, I could buy a couple hundred years where things still feel somewhat familiar, but we're definitely in a new place.
Yeah, the cars don't fly, for instance.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to.
How do you do traffic? How do you do traffic when the cars fly?
I can't feed my children. I don't need a flying car. Well, awesome. So, once again, just judging you. If you haven't shared Movie Wars, do it. Keith Urban's mouth in this movie is impeccable.
Keith Urban?
Keith Urban. Fuck.
I was rolling with you. I was like,
like you.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that several times.
I want to love somebody.
By the way, I got lambasted because I suggested on an Instagram reel that Carl Urban would make a good John Marston if he could get the voice.
John Marsden.
From Red Dead
he's not going
Redemption.
to do it whenever.
Oh,
he's not going to do it if
no.
he has to say America a bunch, because he says
Yeah.
America
Oh, yeah, I forget.
at the beginning.
Oh, I forgot about
If
If
that.
you watch the beginning,
No.
You don't
he's
think
like,
so?
I disagree.
I feel like he has maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. He could.
Maybe I deserve to get
I
lambasted
mean,
on
this
that.
guy was a writer of Rohan. I mean,
sure, but yeah, you're talking like regal as
horse.
fuck versus redneck cowboy. I don't know.
The guy that plays Arthur Morgan's an Irishman.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not the same thing.
Oh, I guess.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Roger Clark.
Well, that explains why so many things sound so weird in that game.
Yeah.
I don't think he would do a bad job. I just don't think he would fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like him.
No, he's fantastic.
I think we should put him in. I think let's go ahead and make Red Dead Redemption.
All right, fuck it. We're doing it.
Fuck
We're
it.
making Red Dead Redemption and we're putting him in.
We're going to make
in.
it all with Eastern Europeans.
Yes.
like The Walking Dead.
Like The Walking
playing
Dead.
all the Atlantans.
All the white people will be played by black people, and all the Native Americans will be played by Japanese.
Yeah. Let's do it.
But anyway, if you're a fan of... It's amazing being the producer of the show, having a bunch of comedians. Like, I just like, where do I cut? You know, it's amazing because I'm like,
You don't. Unedited and
Yeah.
raw dog
on
this
one
shit.
hand, I'm like, there's so much greatness coming from the Emerald Couch, and then on the other end, it's like, God, this is gonna be 3 hours. But share with your friends, lest ye be judged.
Yes.
The questions,
Here we go.
and I actually got 3 because I had. Okay, stop trying to peg me with the slow mo shit. Again, but you're right. I liked it, and I liked the slow motion a lot.
Yeah.
There were some scenes where it was too long.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Very much disagree.
I thought maybe even you would say, and here's my big problem with it. This is why 1 was too long. This is I think a continuity error to me.
Okay.
When she says to give him slow-mo before she throws them off the balcony.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great, but the moment they hit the ground, they're no longer conscious and they're not going to be seeing things slow-mo because they're dead.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, you're going to be your brain's going to be perceiving it at 1%, but at the moment your brain collides with the brain, you're not conceiving anything, you're dead.
Sure.
So it's like, why did that have to be so long? Like, but the length of time that they did that, they would have hit the ground and died.
Yeah.
And it would have no longer been projecting anything.
It's perspective.
Yeah, but
It's simply perspective.
yeah, but
They do say it later in the movie. She gave them the slow mo just so the terror would build up.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they're falling slower.
yeah.
Because no, they're falling at normal speed, but it's all when you're just in that perspective.
So you're telling me that 1% speed, the amount of seconds that it takes up after they take the inhaler until they hit the ground, that was a good amount of time.
As far as from the perspective of someone who's on that drug.
I was just thinking,
I can see where both y'all are coming from this. And I'll be honest with you, I have no argument for or against either.
Yeah, I mean-
because I understand yours is like,
Yeah.
you're still falling.
yeah.
So it's not like time's really slowing down. And you're like, but in your brain,
In your mind it is, but then when you splat, you have no mind, you have no perception time because you're fucking dead.
Well, remember the philosophical idea of your life flashes before your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
There is a literal philosophical theory that your life right now
Mm-hmm.
is you in the middle of dying and you're reliving your life in a constant loop. And every time in your brain you hit that place where you're going to die, it just flashes again.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
don't turn this podcast into a Primer movie podcast. Primer? Jesus.
We need to put that on the list.
Don't invite me over.
So
That's going to be insane.
Yeah, for me, again, it's because immediately they cut away.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what, a quarter of the way down.
Sure.
It's taken a while, and then they cut away, and you see how fast they're actually falling.
Yeah.
It's very specifically we're in the perspective, because it's first person perspective. It's not even like we're watching the guy fall. We are the guy falling.
Yeah.
So it's just to get the idea across that this guy, even though it only took 10 seconds or whatever, this guy, that whole 10 seconds felt like an eternity.
Okay.
It's also a pretty nice thing to do if you're going to kill somebody.
Why would you say that?
Oh, just because you can get right with whatever you believe in.
Yeah,
you
true.
can make your peace.
Yeah.
Get right with the Lord.
But
Yeah.
you just hit that inhaler and you're just like, I know, God, that this is only taking 3.5 seconds, but since I'm here for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about Bessie.
Yeah, I'm sorry about all that shit that I did.
Yeah.
And I read once that y'all are cool with that as long as I admit to it. So we're
Because
good,
even,
right?
even at
Splat.
the end when she gets thrown over, that's the one time that we get to watch the entire fall from that perspective.
Yeah.
And I think it works really well. I could see how it could be a little bit, but no, I think for what they were trying to get across, they did
Sure.
it well.
I still think visually it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really fun to watch.
That bathtub scene, which is the water like still sticking to her skin, like,
Yeah.
so well done.
That was cool.
Is this drug bad? Is it supposed to be bad?
I mean, it's supposed to be harmful, but I mean, aren't all drugs fun but harmful?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out because, like, let's say it was like meth or whatever, like the original Crow, I think they were doing like meth or heroin or something
like that. Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, it's like, people dying around them.
Yeah.
Like nobody's dying off this unless somebody skins them and throws them off the building.
I think this is supposed to be like the like fentanyl kind of crisis right before that really happened, like in our society. Because at that point you did have like the what is it, the Oxy Road, basically, like going up certain parts of the country. And so I think in some ways it was trying to capitalize on that idea. But yeah, this is basically like futuristic heroin mixed with fentanyl.
It's a sci-fi trope too, man. I mean, this is how they ruined. RoboCop was so original, but RoboCop 2 was like, well, what do we do? Verhoeven's not here, so they came up with Nuke.
Yeah.
You know, the drug.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll come up with this dystopian drug that everybody's on. It's just, it's definitely like something that just...
They're just making a critique of crack, stuff like that, like, for RoboCop 2. This is one of the few times that I can relate to my mom. So I had a friend, like, grew up with him. We were real close when we were kids, drifted away whenever I moved away. But he got, shocker, strung out on meth.
Oh, no.
And meth has just made it to, like, my little home, my little shire up there in East Tennessee.
Up in the holler.
Yeah. And I called Mom, and we were talking about it and stuff. She goes, I just don't understand this. It's not like they're getting high. They're going crazy. And I was just like, yeah, Mom, it's meth.
They're getting super fucking high.
Exactly. I was like, it's not even an enjoy. Like, we could all understand if somebody's like, I'm going to take this pill or shoot this up and I'm going to feel amazing and just relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nobody can, like, it's hard to argue, hey, you shouldn't do that until it starts killing you or you start stealing and killing for it and shit like that. But, like, meth, you instantly, like, hit the ground running. Yeah. Like, I'm a murderous psycho.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to bite someone's face off.
And that's the kind of way I'm feeling about slow-mo. Like, people are like, man, the world is too fast-paced. I'm going to hit this inhaler and just watch water twinkle.
Yeah, well, most of the world is poor. What are they going to be poor at slow speed? Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is. Just prolong it.
I want to starve at 1%.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the source material to know if there's like any explanation for why it's so dangerous. But my assumption is just, you do it long enough, you'll build up an immunity. You got to do extra, and then
your teeth get bad.
Yeah.
Also, what's the infrastructure? I didn't write this question down, but man, like the infrastructure to find all the inhalers. I mean, you got to find all the asthmatics. But like, give me your fucking inhaler. We got to make some slow mo. Where are they getting all these inhalers?
What happens when you live in a building that's an entire city block that houses 80,000 people?
That's true. I forget the size and scope. Of it. Yeah. It's like, I bet they got some inhalers down there.
Because I think most of the movie took place on like level 25 or something like. I can't remember which
29
level.
And 39 or something. 25 and 39.
Yeah, and then they go up to 76 because they had to get above level 75, and then they finally go up to 200.
Yeah. I love that idea. Like that truly to me is one of the more dystopian realities. Like these giant. I just thought that was so.
Well, what was funny, so 2 years before this came out, I had just been in Singapore. And in Singapore, they're kind of already doing something similar. The buildings aren't as big, but they're known as high-density blocks, where you'll literally have like 1,000 studio apartments in one building, but you have like 15 people living in each studio apartment.
Oh.
So it's literally just people packed on each other all over the place. And underneath at the very bottom, you have grocery stores, you have restaurants, and you have like shopping that you can do. And it's literally like, other than going to work, you never need to leave your building.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
So
give me 14 little people and we'll just jump right in.
Yeah.
So that for me was really interesting when I saw it, was because I almost saw it already happening in Asia.
Yeah, China has that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they put like livestock in theirs, right?
Yeah, and they're also made from plaster, so they just start falling apart.
Yeah. These are the kids making indigo jeans for Walmart.
Yeah.
What if we find out? I've thought about this a lot. What if we find out that China is a literal utopia, and we're just being fed bullshit over here to be like, it's so bad, and then like we go over there and they're like, check it out, dude.
Crab Rangoon everywhere.
Crab Rangoon everywhere.
General So's? Fuck yeah.
You like Asian chicks? They're all over the place.
Like 80 billion of them.
I know enough people who live there, and I know enough people who visited that it's like, yes, there are parts of it that are absolutely fucking gorgeous. But also, remember, a small city in China is like 20 million people.
Yeah.
So it's like, no matter what, you're still getting like fucked with just how many people are in one space.
And there's tons of unlivable land. Yeah, like mountains and stuff. Like that's like the majority of it, isn't it? Like most of it can't be lived on.
It's kind of crazy. And the fact that they have almost 1.5 billion people there now is just that right there is what's the biggest issue with keeping shit clean, is when you just have that many people, scaling everything up that much is fucked.
Yeah.
So you're saying we need to kill more people?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I'm down.
Let's Judge Dredd 'em.
Next question.
What's your crime?
Living.
Yeah, just being here.
Taking a shit.
I existed.
I took a shit and there's 14 people watching in our high rise.
Waiting in line.
Mama must have been one tough whore, huh?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
What a tough hooker.
Well, remember, she was Leonidas' wife in 300.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So she's a tough bitch, and then she became Cersei maybe a year before this came out.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones, so.
It's worth one viewing.
Okay.
You get through all of it, you rage at how like weird the ending was, and then you just move on like the rest of us did. But that being said, her character in Game of Thrones, she is like the top bitch, like just absolutely dangerous the whole time. And I think especially with Lena Headey, like this character fit her personality in what I've seen her in other films. I think it fit her really well.
Yeah. Yeah, she's tough as hell in this. I dug it.
Yeah.
Also, would it kill Hollywood to just get American actors to do American parts?
Yeah,
apparently. And I'm not saying, I understand it's acting and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew that I was like, I'm going to have to fight through this just a touch whenever Carl Urban said America at the beginning, and he said America.
Yeah.
And I just went, no.
But
damn it.
You said a British company did the comic book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're based on British comics. Yeah.
I wouldn't be
about
surprised.
American dystopias.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a British company that did this.
Oh, that's fine then.
Yeah. I mean, some of the best video games that take place in America are done by like French companies.
Yeah.
Or like even Japanese companies. It's funny because like an American company is responsible for arguably the greatest Japanese set game ever made, Ghost of Tsushima, to the point that the creator of Yakuza was literally just like, I can't believe we didn't make this. This is an embarrassment to Japan that they made something this good. But then at the same time, like I said, I've seen great games about America made in other countries.
Or not only that, you have an American movie, The Patriot, starring an Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the main guy, where I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Wait, Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson's The Patriot, right?
Is he Australian?
Yeah, and so is Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
and Heath Ledger's in. He's Australian.
I didn't realize he was Australian.
Yeah, that's how he got into Mad Max in 1979.
Yeah,
he was an Australian film student.
Yep.
Oh,
they're taking our jobs, Seth.
Because he has an American accent.
Yes,
it's definitely gone away. When he was younger, you could hear it, but over the years, if you listen to old interviews, you can hear it. But now it's very
interesting.
That's also the alcoholism.
I mean, fair, and the anti-Semitism.
Now that he's sober, but
I said he's an American now.
Yeah, he's an American now. Damn it!
Come on, dude.
Last question: did Carl Urban have a mouth coach to keep his mouth at that perfect arched scowl?
I'll bet you he did.
The whole fucking movie, and there are moments where it changes a little bit. For pretty much the whole movie is just the perfect scowl for that helmet.
Here's the biggest reason I love him as Dredd over Stallone. I thought it was for the character they established in the first 20 minutes of the Judge Dredd movie. Every time Sylvester Stallone had an emotional outbreak, I was like, this is completely out of character for who they've established.
Yeah.
Not once does Carl Urban break it, even though the other thing I love, Sylvester Stallone's Dredd had no nuance whatsoever. It was simply, here's the law, we're going to follow the law. Carl Urban's, they make it very clear, we can only respond to 6% of crimes. So we have to decide which 6% we're going to go after. So as they're walking by the homeless guy who's sitting at the front of the building, Sylvester Stallone would have gone up and been like, I'm killing you or I'm arresting you or whatever.
Yeah.
Instead, he's like, if you're here when I come back, then that's when I will deal with you. But he like actually has a little bit of human nuance in how he deals with things. And I think it added way more depth to the character.
It's kind of like Training Day too.
Yeah.
Where you have your like superior officer that's kind of bending some rules here and there, teaching the rookie how to get through. Of course, it didn't play out like Training Day at all. Well, I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to see that chick smoke PCP.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
Then go visit, I think, Dr. Dre.
Yeah. Am I the only one who thought that you were about to get another dose of Anya?
Oh my gosh!
When Olivia Thirlby first came on screen, I was like, "Is that Anya Taylor-Joy?"
Yeah, I just need.
Oh Lord,
we've covered so much Anya lately. Oh my gosh, we had
something
Furiosa than the Northman at this. Yeah.
Oh
within a
wow.
week.
Oh yeah, that's too much.
That's a lot
that's
of
a
Anya.
double dose. You'll OD.
Yeah.
Anya,
She does look
Anya
like her.
D.
You'll slow-mo.
But
Yeah.
yeah, she does kind of look like her.
Yeah.
But also, Anya Taylor-Joy, I can't tell. Do you think that she's hot? Do y'all think she's hot? Or is it just like everybody else where it's like...
She is
She has
hot,
all the
but
pieces.
the eyes are a little weird.
Yeah, the whole face is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like I would kick her out of bed for eating crackers or nothing, you know? I'm not just going to be... Ugh.
She's a London 10, but she's like a New Yorker LA 7.
Yeah, I just don't know what she is.
Yeah.
It's one of those deals where I'm like, I think I'm supposed... Like, my brain goes, yeah, we're attracted to her, right?
Yeah.
And then the other part's like, I don't know. It's like, she is... Like, sometimes I look at, like, Beyonce, where I'm like, she's so pretty, I can't be attracted to her.
Yeah.
Because it
That's
just
not allowed.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then there's this one that's like, she's so weird
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I think I should be.
It's definitely a very unconventional beauty.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the hot chick in this one.
Lena Headey.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think she's attractive.
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy says she got bullied for how she looked in high school. Apparently, in school, she got made fun of a lot for how she looked.
Yeah, that makes
Unfortunately, I'm
sense.
not surprised.
Not one bit. Not one bit am I surprised about that.
Yeah,
Kids are vicious.
yeah, they are
This
vicious.
is why I don't want kids.
I think she's doing okay now, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's
Yeah.
like the hardest. Whatever you think, she definitely is the hardest working
Yeah.
actress currently. Like,
Oh,
Absolutely.
She's
And
in-
she's
yeah.
She's like sexually confusing me, a middle-aged nobody. Where I'm just like, I think
Yeah.
I'm supposed to.
Hey, you're a
be
somebody. You run the
Yeah.
open mic at the East Room.
Hey,
Yeah.
come out every Tuesday, 8:30.
She, yeah. While you're trying to think she's attractive or not, she just released her 3rd series this
I
year.
know, and I'm just like, does that make me hard? What's going on?
You're a hard worker. You have a great work ethic.
Yeah, should I be boned up over this? I don't know. The menu could have been a Twilight Zone episode. They could have just made this 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I bet they had to
Amazing.
show more of her. And I'm like, I guess that's good.
Randos. So the comic book fans were happier with this. Obviously, the helmet was a huge deal with Judge Dredd. The only time he doesn't have it on is when he's putting it on. You don't see
Yeah.
his face, and he doesn't. And I loved it, even as someone that didn't read the source material. It's just a thing when you have a helmet as a character, you take it off at some point.
Yeah.
I kind of dug that was. There's a lot of things uniquely to this that they did in this movie that I feel like they broke tropes to do.
Yeah.
He never takes it off. Even RoboCop takes off the helmet.
Yep.
Darth Vader, like the helmet always comes off, but here.
Well, I like that they made it clear and realistic as you can that, yeah, he's going to take it off to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But he takes upon that creed for himself. That is, if he's in front of people, he's not taking off the mask. Even though I do like that he points out that she left her helmet, but she's like, I have a reason. Like, I can't use the psychic stuff if
Yeah.
I have the helmet on.
And also just having two people
Yeah.
just
It would have been a lot.
talking. Yeah, it would have been it would
Yeah.
be like, this is awful.
This is kind of wild. They were going to go much older with the actor. Before Carl Urban, you're going to love this because I think you and I are on the same vibe. Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn. Tell me who Michael Biehn is. Just in
Terminator as, not John Connor.
case. The Liquid Metal Terminator?
No, Terminator 1. How could I forget his name? It's one of my favorites. Kyle Reese.
Oh.
Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And Abyss. Yep.
I don't think he would have done as good.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
And also, at the same time, I didn't know this. Michael Biehn was also being considered for Mad Max alongside Tom Hardy.
Oh.
He had to be in his 50s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess he wouldn't have done as much because I guess Max doesn't do a lot in Fury Road compared to
doesn't.
everyone else. Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting. I love Michael Biehn. I agree with you, but it would have been another sci-fi feather for him because he's been in Terminator 1 and 2, flashbacks in
Yeah,
Terminator 2,
yeah.
Aliens, and The Abyss. I mean, he's like James Cameron's boy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He would have. I don't know if he
And
would have
yet
been
not good
Dredd,
enough
but
for Avatar.
having
Yeah.
him be some sort of auxiliary character in
Yeah.
there, like, somewhere in the building or maybe like, on the council or
Yeah.
something like, of course,
He
they didn't
could
have
have
a council in
been.
this movie.
He could have been really cool as like the top white henchman. Which I gotta say,
Yeah.
one of my favorite moments in the whole movie. And with the girl I was watching it with, this happened when he just walks up with him and throws him off the balcony and then just walks right back into the dust. I'm just like, if we'd been watching the other movie, or like Sly would have tried to make some sort of shitty like remark and maybe a little speech, and then they would have tried to shoot him, and then he would have run away.
Yeah.
No. Badass fucking moment. Dude walks in, throws him off, and just says fuck it all and walks away.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
That's crazy.
What a great moment.
I think that Carl Urban sounded. I'm so afraid of
Jimmy Suburban.
Jimmy Suburban. I'm so afraid of saying Keith Urban now.
I mean, they're
fucked
both
up.
Australian Urbans, so.
Yes. I think that he sounded. I think he was modeling his voice not after Stallone. I think he was going Dirty Harry. I have it written down in my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Ooh.
I think he was going for that.
God, I love Dirty
Is
Harry.
that what you want to do?
We're gonna cover Dirty Harry at some point. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with those movies.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And just considering at the time that they had, what was it, the Zodiac Killer running around, and then they had their version of the Zodiac Killer, and they just decided, let's make a movie where an old, kind of shitty cop
Yeah.
just kills this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then everybody will feel okay.
He has the least efficient giant revolver that you don't need.
Yes.
Lugging it around.
Hold on. Just like pulling it out like a clown with a bunch of handkerchiefs or whatever.
Such a badass, though. I love that note. That's really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was trying to nail down. It's funny you say that. I was trying to think. Like, he's doing his own thing. There are moments where it's got a little bit of the Stallone, but he's definitely made it his own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he talks out of the side of his mouth like Stallone. That's
Yeah.
where he gets. That's his homage to Stallone.
Yeah.
And then the rest is Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I love that. This is one of the weirdest things ever. So going back to the slow-mo sounds, the sound that is they kick on when they do slow-mo, that is the sound of a baby by Justin Bieber slowed down 800 times.
Really?
Yes.
That's a fact?
That's a fact.
funny.
And I looked all over the place, and I again, the internet, this didn't have a commentary. So, and you know me, I love commentaries. When there's no commentary, I'm left to the internet, which I hate. But I found this multiple places, probably 80% accurate.
That's funny as hell.
Yeah, based on my sources.
I mean, I've done weird shit like that for my senior film. For the background of the prison that I was shooting in, I took whale noises and just low passed them, so you'd only get the lowest frequencies kind of through every now and then.
Yeah.
Some like heavy reverb. So no, it's always fun when as a sound designer you can do some fun shit like that. And
Yeah.
just throw something in there and be like, that's for me.
I love it. I love it. And the fact that it's Justin Bieber makes it even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had to license that.
Yeah, that's actually a question I had. I mean,
I wonder what the laws are, like how much it has to be comprehensible as that thing.
What's the publishing house of this movie? Maybe it was just like lumped in where he's like, yeah, you can use music from our
possible.
publishers.
Yeah.
And then be like, okay, we'll take Justin Bieber.
Yeah, I don't know.
it definitely was a smaller distribution company.
Yeah, there wasn't any big studio backing behind either of these two movies.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's some sort of law where if you just make it incomprehensible.
Well, that's the thing is I wonder what the threshold is as far as like if I can't recognize it as this thing, then you can use it.
Yeah, you could turn it into Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys
Yeah.
and just be
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's a million samples on here. Pick one
Yeah.
to sue us for.
I don't know why, but this conversation always reminds me of when you get into the idea of rights. I think about how the Verve they lost money on Bittersweet Symphony because they illegally sampled that string. You know, it's a bittersweet.
Yeah.
They illegally sampled that. They didn't get you can go through the legal process and get it done, and you'll be fine. You'll make money on it. You just have to split it. But they didn't do it right. So every dime that they made, and remember that was in Nike commercials.
It was
Yeah.
huge.
They lost money due to lawsuits.
Well, like Vanilla Ice lost a fuck ton of money for Ice Ice Baby because he didn't get permission to use the bass line from Under Pressure.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so he literally is like I forget what show it was in, but there was a joke where someone was like Ice Ice. He's like, stop! I lose money when you say that.
That's hilarious. Oh, Mr. Van Winkle.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Olivia is it Thirlby?
It looked like Thrillby.
Thrilby, yes. God, they just keep throwing fucking names at me, dude. The Northmen, all those Scandinavian
Yeah.
names. I was like trying to pronounce like the dots on the on the O's, but
Umlauts.
because of she wanted to stay committed. So I guess the character that she's based on in the comics had the bob, that blonde bob. I guess it's called a bob according to this. And she
it's just an above the shoulder cut.
okay, is that what that means?
Yeah.
Okay, bobbing for apples. She had to redo her roots every 9 days because her hair kept growing out so fast.
Yeah.
I guess. What was the roots budget?
Probably just boxed shit. So like
Yeah.
$10 every 9 days.
Yeah, and see, this is what happens when I don't have a commentary. This is the kind of factoids I'm
Yeah.
left with.
Yeah, just-
Absolute dog shit.
Yeah, just the hair dyes.
Because
So much
usually
hair dye.
I want highbrow shit. I want to be like this camera, this blah blah blah. But we're down to roots
Yeah.
being dyed. Oh,
Down to roots.
we're down to roots. And the last fact, back to the helmet. So, well, actually, no, this is actually didn't have to. I have lumped these two things together. This is crazy. Pete Travis was the original director of this, and they turned in the final cut,
Yeah.
and they hated it, and so they fired him. And so what a lot of people say, and I'm trying to remember who the actor who said this, Carl Urban actually said this, that this really should be considered Alex Garland's directorial debut. Because once Pete Travis was fired, Garland took over and ended up directing a ton of the movie. But then before they released it, they actually rehired Pete Travis, and they worked together. I guess he felt bad he got fired, but apparently Garland, should have been not Ex Machina, which is a lot of people say that's his director, his official, but he apparently directed large portions of this movie.
So did they reshoot it, or did they not like the script?
They just didn't like the final cut. So I do think there were reshoots. There were reshoots.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. Once again, just for shits and giggles, I would love to see what the original cut of this looked like.
Yeah.
This one, for the opposite reason, this one turned out so good.
Yeah.
I would love to see what they deemed not good. Because if this is one of the few cases where executives actually made the movie better, I'm into it. Get more smart executives like these fuckers.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently they Travis kept. I guess Urban's like a diehard fan of the comics, and he kept trying to get him to take the helmet off for scenes, and he refused.
Yeah.
So Urban kept saying, "No, we're gonna do it right," and so he never would take off the helmet.
God, good for him. Him and Henry Cavill are the only two actors left who are standing up for shit, and are no, we're gonna follow the source material.
Hey, sometimes it's good. The crossroads, as Josh said.
Yes, the crossroads. You could follow it, but also, I mean. First of all, reshoots have got to be just awful to do as an actor. To be like, I haven't done this in a year, and I'm getting called back.
Yeah.
I have to break whatever I'm doing now to try to figure out what I was doing then and all that stuff.
I'm playing an anorexic cat now.
Yeah. Because for the record, for people who don't understand the difference, there is a difference between pickups and reshoots. Pickups are when you go back to already existing scenes and you've put everything together and you find 3 shots that either you might be missing, like one insert shot for something, or you need just a slightly tweaked delivery on a certain line.
Yeah.
So you go back, you reset the setup, you make sure everyone looks exactly like they did on the day of the take that you're using, and they go and re-record those moments. Reshoots is when there have been rewrites done and you're shooting new stuff. You're reshooting new sections of the movie. So that's for the assholes on Reddit who yelled at me because I thought it was funny that James Gunn was like, "Oh, I never do reshoots or pickups on my movies because I rehearse well." And then he came in and did pickups for Superman. For all you fuckers who downvoted me, there's a difference.
He's still banned from the Snyder Reddit.
I am. I don't care. I'm not bitter.
I'm banned from the Nashville Reddit.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. Oh shit! What'd you do?
So.
Sorry
for you historians,
note, but I have to know.
For you historians, there was a bomb that went off in downtown Nashville
in 2020
on Christmas, and this was. So there's plenty of people that every time somebody's like, I thought I hear gunshots on the Nashville subreddit. People are like, welcome to North Nashville, welcome to East Nashville, and just make fun of it. Something bad happens to somebody, everybody's making fun of it. So I got online and I found a border of Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And I put Happy Holidays from Nashville, and in the middle I took a screenshot of a nuclear bomb going off.
No!
And I posted
it. God!
And I look back 5-10 minutes later, and one of the top comments was, I know what you're doing. I find this funny, but you're going to be banned. and everybody else was like, you're an insensitive piece of shit.
Yeah.
People died in this. Only one person.
No one died except for the fucking guy who set the bomb off.
That's what got me. And I instantly whenever I read banned and other people were like, you deserve to be banned, I instantly deleted it because I don't want to be banned. And then I got something where I'm not allowed to post ever again.
You can still creep, but you can't post.
Yeah. So they understood what I was going for. But they're just like, now we can't. Dude, there was dogs loose in my neighborhood with collars on. I was like, oh, I'll just put this on the Nashville subreddit. And this was 3 years later. And I was like, why won't it? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm banned.
Dude, I used to do a bit about that, about the bomb, because you ever know people that sympathy crawl? You know what I mean? Like they mark themselves safe from a thing that happens 300 miles away.
Yeah.
So many people I knew that live in fucking Murfreesboro and Franklin, thanks for all the people that checked in to make sure I was safe. It's like, dude, you were 40 miles away. You're in the woods. Like, no one gives a fuck about you.
My mom guilted my sister pretty hard. I like called my mom, like cell services going in and out.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, there was a bombing here. So I was like, you'll see it on the news. Trust me.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, like an hour or so later, my sister calls and she's just like, are you okay? I was like, yeah. She was like, Mom called me and said that you just survived a terrorist attack and all this shit. And I was like, no, that was miles away from me. But it was loud enough to wake other people up that weren't shit can drunk like I was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I heard people could hear it in Franklin.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'm sure.
That's crazy.
Anywho,
we don't approve of bombing.
that was a great.
I forget where all that was going.
Side tangent.
Fuck Reddit. That's where that is.
That's where it came from. Was me being banned from the Snyder Cut.
I hate Reddit so much. There's so much negativity.
Yeah.
It's my only addiction.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, the nicotine that I had to spit out before we started this, other stuff. But that's my only like internet addiction.
I had to cut it off. I deleted it. It was too much.
It's coming soon.
Everyone's so negative. Shall we? How do we change course back to?
I don't know.
You better leave all of that in.
Yeah. Oh, I will. That was amazing.
That was a great story.
That was such
I will
a
not
good
say
time.
anything into a mic that I am even remotely worried about.
If I didn't want side tangents, then comedians are the wrong people
Yeah.
to have
Don't
me
invite
guest
me
on your
places
show
because you'll be like, so Carl Urban did a great job in this. And I'm like, yeah, it reminds me of this one time I was going shopping.
Yeah.
And I planted a bomb.
Yeah, I planted a bomb somewhere. Reddit kicked me off.
Keith Urban showed
Keith
up.
Urban's there.
It was fucking wild. Good movie.
It's A+, 5 stars.
Shall we be tough whores?
Yes.
Shall we commandeer an entire mega building?
Let's do it.
Let's war. As a reminder, the yes, I love it affirmative, I am the law, and the negative, I don't like it, I don't dig it. Don't be judgy. Top Bill cast stars Carl Urban, Carl Jr. Remember Carl's Jr.? Why is it plural? Or why is it possessive? I don't know.
Yeah.
Olivia Thirlby. Why is that so hard to say?
Thirlby?
Thirlby. That's so, these damn names. And Lena Headey. I can't say any of them. I literally can't say names. If it's not Arnold or Sly, I don't know how to say it. What do y'all think?
Everyone kicked ass. Everyone clearly was into what was going on. Again, I don't know how much was reshot and how much was on the original, but regardless, I think it's a good thing you can't tell what was reshot and what was original. It all flowed seamlessly together. Everyone's performances were insanely consistent. So yeah, it's I went so negative on the other one.
Yeah.
I completely forgot.
I am the law.
Yeah, I go I am the law on this one.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, ditto. I am the law. They just got a better group of actors together, basically, that possibly knew the source material.
I wish Rob
Possibly,
Schneider had still been in it.
if he would just be like a crazy person, if he was the homeless person that he told to
got
leave,
crushed.
phenomenal.
The Cajun.
Phenomenal. Yeah. Y'all don't want to go over there.
Yeah, I go I am the law too here. I tried to separate. I was trying actually not to compare the two movies because I do think they're so inspired but differently.
Yeah.
But if you do look at it comparatively, it's a huge step up from Sly.
Yeah.
And I really thought Carl Urban physically as an actor, and I made a joke earlier about his mouth, but like I kept looking at his mouth like I was like, he's even like that almost became part of the helmet.
Yeah.
His facial expression was like he's got such a main scowl.
Yeah.
And the 5 o'clock shadow was just right. Like
So good.
everything about his physical presence. I love how he delivered lines. I loved Lena Headey.
Yeah.
And I'll get
Terrifying as a villain.
Yes, and we have a category we'll dive into deeper because I one of my biggest complaints about tropes is just very normal, casual, same villain archetypes over and over again. Not only was this a different type of villain, but the way she played, she almost played her, even though she's vicious, she's soft too. I was like, there's a lot of complexity happening.
Well,
and,
with a name like Mama, I feel like, and I will say that was one of the few things that it was just like the number of times they kept saying, I was like, okay. But when you do have a name like Mama, like the whole point is, I feel like with her, you have to be disarmingly, like soft, just so it hurts more when you rip their dick off.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good description. I like that.
Yeah. She's one tough whore.
Yeah.
I am the law 1-0. Here we go. We are cooking with gas. Here we go. Supporting cast. And I just put, because there's a lot of folks didn't know as well, but Warwick Greer as Caleb, and one person I love, Wood Harris as Kay, was phenomenal on The Wire.
Yeah.
Phenomenal on The Wire. Yeah. What do you think?
Who was he in The Wire?
He's in the very first season. He's the main bad guy. That what's his name?
Avon Barksdale.
He's Avon Barksdale.
Okay.
Yeah.
I felt slightly racist for watching it and just being like, I think that's Barksdale. And then I went, oh, come on, stop. Dude.
Yeah.
And then I literally never looked it up.
I
don't know. So that right there is so reassuring to me.
Yeah, he's done a ton of shit though. Like he's been a lot. He was in the new Blade Runner.
Oh, nice.
He was in Ant-Man. Remember the Titans. He has done a ton of shit. But my favorite is Avon Barksdale.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, he knocked Avon Barksdale out of the park.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think everyone did a really good job. I think every little side character that we met, down to the woman in the apartment building, to the guy in the medical center, to the couple of villains, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But like all the little side characters, I loved how memorable they all were. Like you walk out of it, I couldn't tell you any of the actors' names and I couldn't tell you most of the characters' names, but I could tell you which character had done what thing. Even down to the dude that she killed and then found out was the woman's husband. Like all of those little moments, I think everybody did a crazy good job. So it's definitely an eye on the law for me.
Same here. I do believe that scene after she executes the dude and then sees like, his wife and baby and stuff in there in the picture. I feel like they just drug that out a little bit too long.
A little bit.
I feel
just
like
a tiny bit.
I think it should have been like them going in there to seek refuge and being like, "You shut up" and all this stuff. Is how I would like it.
Yeah.
Just go in there and kind of be mean to her, and then she glances over as they're leaving and sees that.
Yeah.
And almost do it like a Coen Brothers thing, but I just love the Coen Brothers.
Fair.
So not saying anything, she looks over, and then it's just her like walking towards the camera, just like ooh. I fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it. And I could see it going both ways. Regardless, I felt the moment still worked.
Yeah, it definitely worked.
Yeah. So
what's your vote?
Oh, yeah, I Am the Law. It's great.
I Am the Law. I want to mention one more person because I just remembered a performance I loved. And I'm glad I mentioned this because Domhnall Gleeson
Oh, yeah.
plays the techie guy with the long hair.
He's so good.
I loved his performance here, and because he is almost like he put off this like he's there by force.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then I went and looked at his IMDb. I was trying to remember what else I loved him. He was the captain in The Revenant.
I haven't seen The Revenant.
Yeah.
That's one of the few movies. If you suggest we do it, I will absolutely 100% say no.
The most
Really?
You won't?
Yeah. I refuse. The
Really?
director almost killed 7 crew members, and I refuse to watch any movie made by someone
While
like
making that movie?
Yeah.
Because that movie was vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Even Leonardo
literally,
DiCaprio.
There's no excuse to ever put any crew member in danger
Really?
for any movie.
I'll agree with
I
that,
have
too.
zero respect. It's a fucking movie. I don't care how great of an art piece it is. It is a fucking movie. No one's life is worth making a movie.
Wow. Leo got really sick. The whole cast got ill.
Yeah.
Because they were in the actual
Yeah.
Canadian winter.
I refuse.
Really?
I will never watch that movie. Out of protest.
How did they
because
let
of-
that
I'm
happen?
just waiting for Kyle to start going, please.
You won't do it. It's the most beautiful 4K rendering I've ever seen.
It is amazing.
I'm sure it is. I
Yeah.
will never see it.
I made a huge mistake about seeing it in not 4DX, but what's the one with like the big encompassing sound?
Oh, Atmos, Dolby Atmos,
Something like
IMAX.
that, dude.
Yeah.
It wasn't on IMAX, but it was definitely a bigger screen.
Yeah.
And it was just like the sound was so whenever they were in the forest and
Yeah.
they really cranked up the wood sounds.
Yeah.
That I was like, I'm going to go fucking crazy.
Look,
I was like,
I've-
there is no moment of silence in this film.
I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie. I'm not gonna
Oh, it's
a
say
great
anything
movie,
negative
but
about
I
the movie
understand why you're
itself.
not gonna watch
I will
it.
never watch it
I didn't
because
know that.
no person's life is worth.
You're
a movie.
totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's why I even like I think it's absurd they finished Rust. Like I think
Oh,
it's
they
absurd.
finished that?
Yep, they finished it and they're releasing it, and I genuinely think Alec Baldwin as the producer and the actor holding the gun and who was the props master on that both need to be in jail.
Yeah.
Because there are rumors that he was absolutely hammered drunk all the time on that set.
Alec Baldwin?
Yeah.
He's a dick.
Yeah.
He's an absolute dick.
So I think it's absurd that they decided to finish that movie. They should have left it and just moved on.
I agree. Nobody should die for a movie, but it's good to hear old Hollywood's back where they're just
Yeah,
like, we don't
baby.
give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
Let's make the fucking product.
Yeah, keep tweeting about politics. You're going to get crushed by a prop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a democratic socialist. Oh my God, the sun's falling apart. It's on fire.
The
Now
North Tower.
Now you guys got to come watch it or else he died in vain.
Yeah, it's true. But Domhnall Gleeson's fantastic in The Revenant. So
Yeah.
anyway, he was one of my favorites. So yeah, I give this a total I Am the Law. I thought I even liked some of I even really liked, you won't even name them, but the criminals at the very beginning in the first car scene.
Van. Yeah.
I really loved how they portrayed that's your first introduction to slow-mo. And I love how they pulled that off. So,
and I love how they seamlessly used that to bring you into the high density unit.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason otherwise that they went to go in there. Like it's so good.
All right, 2-0. We are the law. Writing and a young Alex Garland here, and the resume is getting stacked up for him. He wrote Men, the A24 movie, Civil War, Annihilation, Ex Machina. I mean,
good for him.
He's really and some of those he also directed, I believe. Yeah.
So I am gonna have to preface this by saying this is a squeak over. It is. I am gonna go I am the law on this, but as is the problem with 90% of action movies I've ever seen, the biggest flaw in this movie, and it's not even that much of a flaw, but it is the biggest flaw of the movie, is there is very little depth to the writing.
Yes.
The world building is really good. The story it tells is really good, but it is a very simple script, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we're just going to judge the script, the writing itself, it's all right. It's nothing groundbreaking as a script. It's an incredible movie, but this is probably the weakest part.
Yeah.
But still, I am the law. Just squeaks over for me.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, they're just going for a romp.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's no depth. I don't think that they even had an ink. They're like, this is not going to be making sequels.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, we're just
I know they were hoping it would.
Well, of course,
it
you
is
always
what it is.
hope.
Yeah.
I was really bummed that there haven't been. After I watched this, like, man, I'm catching.
So Carl Urban, he's upset that there hasn't been a sequel.
His portrayal alone
was
like, I wanted to see him do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the two of them would work really well together again.
But there's always the fear that you just water it down. You have to put more depth in it into something that sort of doesn't need it.
Yeah.
I mean, your auxiliary characters, I don't need to know anything more about Judge Dredd. Yeah. I don't need to know that he was born in a test tube or any of that bullshit. He's a judge, and that's all he does.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's where they would fuck up if they kept going.
Possibly.
You know.
Again, I don't know enough about the source material to know where they could go with the story that's true to the actual IP. So I have no clue. But would have enjoyed it. Am glad that it stands alone by itself and isn't fucked up by having more attempts at trying to do it. But
I would like to know the person that decided to put a hot chick as a woman that can read your thoughts. What kind of fucking monster that person was?
Yeah.
What kind of nightmare is that?
She's a mutant.
Yeah, she's a mutant. So you have a hot chick, you see her, and then she can instantly tell what you're thinking about her. That's a nightmare.
And 99% of people's like, I think you're hot.
Yeah, or just be like, or just 99%, like dudes would just walk in and be like, damn.
Yeah,
and just
that was a whole great moment with her and the one henchman where he's just like, she's like, what am I thinking? Or he's like, what am I thinking? And she's like, oh, you're thinking about having sex with me to shock me. And he's like, oh no, you want to be shocked? And then tries to shock her, and then she comes back later and just fucks him up.
Yeah, that was cool. But also at the same time, you're just trying to be nice to a lady that you know.
Yeah.
And your brain as a man, you're just like, and then she gets to see it.
I do love that moment where she's like, he's thinking about going for your gun. He's changed his mind.
And then he goes, and then Dre goes, yep.
It's so good.
That was good. Yeah, I went back and forth on this one because I basically agree with you. Like,
there's a lot of good, but not a lot of substance.
Yeah. Like, I can't, because like when I watch Commando, I would totally just give that a A+. And that's literally some of the most empty writing, but it serves the story. I do think it's a squeak over if I'm going to use Seth's unique squeak by scale. I do think it's an over. It serves the story. There are some loopholes and a couple of things that kind of don't make sense, but ultimately, I dug it. I think it really comes down to how well do they write Dredd. That was, to me, was the most important thing, and they wrote him exponentially better than he was written in Judge Dredd.
Well, they went the opposite direction than Sly. Sly gave himself as many lines as he could possibly get, and Carl Urban probably, I can't say that he said this, but I'm assuming from his love of the comics, he was like, give me the least amount of words I need to say to get everything across.
Yeah.
And I think that played into the benefit of the character.
Yeah, the economy of words. Yeah. As far as if you're going to try to get a stoic, like old school badass dude, I mean, look at Clint Eastwood's character Blondie and a lot of those spaghetti westerns and stuff. I mean, he never spoke. He was the man with no name.
Yeah.
You know, and then you bring this bad guy out that, or not bad guy. Well, he's a badass guy, I guess you would say. Yeah, you don't want to hear him be like, "Here's my thoughts."
Yeah.
Here's my thoughts on racism.
But he would give you exactly what he was thinking. Like whenever he told her, he's like, "Yeah, we're going to get rushed.
Yeah.
And we're low on conserve ammo." And how did he put it? Something like about like, killing yourself before they take you.
Oh yeah, because you're not going to want to be subjected to what they'll subject you to.
Exactly. And I was just like, that's good.
Yeah.
I was like, he's
so solid.
He's like, this is what you need to know.
Yeah.
He's like, he's very much a robot that does the law stuff.
Yeah.
So he wasn't joking around. He wasn't having a good time. He's like, this is my job.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to keep you alive, but probably not.
Yeah.
And I'm getting out of here.
He's the plot filler without making you feel like you're listening to someone just explain the plot.
Yes.
Yeah. There were enough of those moments to balance out the shallowness to me.
Yeah. And they also, I don't know if this was a reason why they moved it fast, but like you say, there's not a lot of depth. There's not a lot of depth in the movie whatsoever. So they just move it really fast.
Yeah.
So you don't have time to be like, wait, what?
Exactly.
Oh, okay, it's just the next scene.
And I
You're
think
like,
it's
okay.
to its benefit. We'll talk about this
is,
in the visual side, but yeah, no, I agree with that a lot.
I just remember the scene that was kind of mind-boggling to me that I did not like. It was when she pays off the other judges. I just was like, that's an okay trope to use, but we really don't have an idea of a monetary system in this world. And I'm like thinking like, we're not connected to these judges, so it didn't really sting me that hard that they were so quick to take her the million credits. And I was like, money's not been a thing. It's not been a motivator in this world at all because most people don't have it. And judges to me they're such a almost like deity in this world. I think of them as almost deities. They are the judge, jury, executioner. They are the law. And we don't know these other judges. This is the first time we're meeting them. We don't get to know them at all. So why am I supposed to like care? I have no moral quandary in this because like, well, I didn't think this was a good guy because my first meeting with him is they're already being bought off. And I was like, it was just a really fast, simple trope that they put in there. That was it's a squeak over. And there was more positive than negative, but that one thing really annoyed. I remember being on the treadmill actually watching that scene with my noise cancel headphones, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Really? We're just gonna pay off these judges we don't know that we're not attached to, and like I'm supposed to care that there's."
Yeah, I think really it served to showcase because they are talking about how she's supplying multiple density units and she's trying to get the whole city.
Yeah.
So it shows that she is connected to the inner workings of the government. It does show the corruption. That he's trying so desperately to not be any type of part of. To Carl Urban's Dredd, he's very much like I said. This is the law. I'm going to follow the law, despite the nuance of we can only basically enforce 6% of the law.
Yeah, and this may be where they were afraid too, because the old one spent too much time at the internal workings of the what are they called, like the board and all that shit. We could have used a little bit about I think that here, just a dose, just to get a little more exposed to this entity that is the judges.
Agreed.
Just to give me a little background to why this matters are getting paid off. But if I would rather this situation than in Judge Dredd when we're fucking living in the boardroom.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, I'm done with these.
What's crazy is these two movies are the same length. They're both an hour and a half long. And this felt so much shorter.
This went.
Well, the go with like bringing in the other judges to fight Dredd. I mean, it's Superman 2. It's Zod. Like you basically have already established in that short amount of time that Judge Dredd is damn near unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yep.
And who else but level the playing field, bring in judges.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it that way, but also understand it's like whenever they showed up, I literally had to be like, oh, it's judges.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't out of place, but it could have been written in better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So speaking of the other judge, I love it when he's operating on himself.
Yeah.
What does he say about the field, like something field dressing?
Field dressing
Kit,
yeah.
But he calls it like he like rates it. It's like, this is your usual or your, I can't remember.
Standard.
It's like standard field dressing. It's like in the moment he's like still administering the law.
Yeah.
This is a standard. I actually love that. I was like, that's so in character.
Yeah, it's so good.
Speaking of that, I didn't mention this in Random, but he didn't take his helmet off between scenes either.
Nice.
He left it on.
For him.
He was Judge Dredd the whole time. So like even when they weren't shooting, he left the helmet on. Can you imagine? Like it's one thing to be with Daniel Day-Lewis always being Daniel Plainview.
Yeah.
But you're with a guy with a helmet.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, they probably forget, like, oh, that's some fucking actor. I don't know who that is.
Well, fortunate for him, his mouth was visible so he could eat.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, what do judges eat, huh? Yeah. All right, it is
Recycled food in the first one.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
Just a spaghetti robot.
And see if they would
eat justice.
And that's the thing. If they would have made more, they could have sprinkled in more. Because now I feel like, oh, this team, the Alex Garland, Carl Urban unit, they get this world.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, well, give me 2 more. I want to see it expand a little bit.
Yeah.
They didn't. So directing, it's 3-0. Pete Travis, but in parentheses, Alex Garland.
Yeah, I think. Again, have no idea what the original cut looked like, and apparently it was worse. But what we got, whoever ended up being in charge of it, they did a great job.
Yeah.
This is almost like the exact opposite of the Justice League Snyder cut situation, where it's like you have Snyder's vision. He was doing everything he could to pull it under 3 hours, and then they hand it off to Joss Whedon, and Joss Whedon's just like, I'll keep 45 minutes of your movie, and then I'll just shoot a totally different movie. Like, on the other hand, you have this now where it's like, this isn't quite hitting it. Let's bring in someone else and let's figure this out. And it turned out so good.
Yeah.
So I give it an I Am the Law.
Yeah, I Am the Law. I don't know anything I could really add.
Yeah.
Other than they just understood what they were doing.
Yeah.
They were just like, this is what this is.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of these big IPs being sold to be made, like your Judge Dredd and stuff like that. That's where they always, I can't think of another one because we just watched these movies.
Yeah.
But where they just miss the mark because they just kind of go, okay, well, this is whatever in book form.
Yeah.
So in order to make it a movie, we have to do this, and you have to have comic relief, and we have to do this so the women will come out, and we have to do this so the kids will buy the toys and all this. And this did not care one fucking iota about that.
No.
They were like, we're making this movie, and this is how it moves, and this is how it ends. Good night, everybody.
It's funny you say that. I bought my kids the Mama Hooker toy.
Yeah. That's funny because I bought my mom the slow-mo.
That's awesome. Yeah. So every time you come over, she's just,
And then it would be funny if you are moving like that, like just slowly moving your hand, but water's just falling completely, like in real time. You're like,
yeah.
God.
Everything's an experience.
Yeah.
I go I Am the Law here. I think it's interesting. Like I think of pace a different way. Like I look at pace as how it's being edited. So that's one aspect. But as a director, pace is like what kind of movement did you make? Yeah. And it's like you said it felt shorter. It absolutely felt shorter, and the other one absolutely felt forever long.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't enjoying it. But this one, like it was such a like just boom, 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 and I feel like you can call that editing in a different category, but as a director, like the vision they saw, like there was just no punches pulled. Yeah, there's a few writing things I didn't dig, but at the end of the day, the directing, like I feel like they delivered a really fast, fun, and there's something to be said for just a fast, fun ride.
Oh
yeah, because so many movies today. Like there is a pressure, I think, because of the failure of cinema right now in theaters. Like they make movies really long. And I was like, we got to give them something big. But in the 80s,
$25 to come see this movie. It better be 3 hours.
Yeah. But all the Arnold romps that you and I seem to love mutually, like hour and a half. Yeah. And it was just hour and a half punch in the gut, and it was like that was fun.
Yeah. I've said it a million times. 90 minutes might be the best for damn near any movie.
Yeah.
90 minutes, get you in, get you out. I mean, occasionally, like, I love No Country for Old Men. I think it might be one of the greatest works of cinema ever.
Totally agree.
And I guess it's like 2.5 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't to me.
It's also not an action movie. It is a bit of a slower burn, and it is especially like a drama. So depending on the genre, I think comedy, no more than 90 minutes. Like 90 minutes is perfect. For action, you have a window between 90 minutes and 2 hours where you can make a fantastic movie. Outside of that, you better have other elements of drama or comedy or whatever genre you're choosing to infuse in there to fill in the gaps of what should be a 90-minute action movie.
If you're doing a 2-hour action movie, that motherfucker best be mostly action. Yeah. Because if you're just giving me...
Or have some incredible depth and drama to the characters.
I'll go. I would rather take the action at that point.
Sure.
You're going to have to keep me awake. You're going to give me big, and then you're giving me a low. You better give me real big after that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But again, sometimes the action can be heightened when you have reasons to care for the characters. So that's where I'm like, if you're going to make it a 2-hour movie, I better have all of the emotional depth to the characters where I want to keep watching for 2 hours.
Yeah, because I don't want to watch Heat every time I sat down to watch an action movie.
Yeah.
But that movie had plenty of action, but
Yep.
you had to get all that drama going.
Yeah.
But in this, we talked about Upgrade just a bit ago. I'm trying to think of another one right off the top of my head. I did just move it.
Yeah.
Just take me through, because whenever I go, if I see a Sly Stallone borderline clone coming out, don't give me all jelly and no peanut butter.
Yeah.
You know, I just want the sweets.
Yeah.
Give me the sugar rush and then crash me at the end. And I'll The Beekeeper. Have you guys watched The Beekeeper?
No, I've heard about it, but no, I haven't seen
then
it.
I'll stay away from it.
That's
you tell
the same
me,
director who did Suicide Squad.
is it? Okay,
Yeah,
well,
David Ayer.
well, he was knocking it out of the park with The Beekeeper.
Hell yeah, that's good to hear.
It makes
good
no
for
sense.
him.
And you get to the end and you're like, all right.
We love a success story.
Yes.
Success.
Speaking of success, 4-0, Dredd is having some success on the Movie Wars podcast, brought to you by the three of us.
Yeah. If you want to sponsor us, let us know.
Yes.
Have you guys ever thought about just the place you like and just be like, we'll just give it a bump till they maybe give us money?
Yeah. We do it.
What do you think I'm wearing Bucky's shoes?
How much? Your Bucky shit gets comments online all the time.
I know,
Really?
it's
People
so
love
good.
it. People love it when you wear Bucky's. And then what is it? Your buddy's company, your favorite, Seth Rogen's company.
Seth Rogen, the Houseplant Company. That's a lighter. Is that green?
Yeah,
block of
that's a
marble.
lot.
They
It's
get a ton
car
of
lighter.
free.
I'm afraid to touch it.
Tap the top down.
Where's the flame come out?
No flame. Tap the top down. You'll see.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, what's the next category? It's a car lighter.
Oh, okay.
You're old enough. You should know what this is.
Yeah, I know what that is, but whenever somebody just has a lighter in their home and they're like, touch it,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, where's the flame come out? And you're like, don't worry about it. And I was
miss-
like, all right, I've been tricked into doing stuff before.
Oh,
I
there
missed
you
the
go.
time
Popped.
in history when we
Pull it out.
smoked so many cigarettes that we had to have a lighter in
pull
our
it out.
car.
Pull it straight up.
Yep.
Well, I'll be.
Yeah.
They also call these windproof lighters.
Yeah.
What I loved about these, back when I was your age, what I loved about those is that you would use one in your car. Well, it's going to get hotter now. You'd use one in your car and you'd stick the end of your cigarette to it.
Yeah.
And then you pull back and it just pulled all the hot tobacco out
Yep.
on fire, basically, so it would fall all over your car. It was very nice.
Yeah. We were like, hey, it's in my car. I guess I'll take what I can get.
Talk
Yeah.
about a dystopian past.
I love it. 4-0. What's in front of us? Cinematography, production, design, sound, costumes, editing.
This is where I think the movie truly shined. And and again, it's like we were talking about Hardcore Henry. It has just enough of a story that it justifies the experience. This is kind of the same thing. Yeah, the plot, fantastic. The writing, decent, good enough, passable, something I enjoy. The visual feast of this movie was so much fun. Adding the elements of the slow-mo with like the rainbow kind of elements in that to just the straight, visceral darkness of being closed into this gigantic building. And then weirdly, like when you go into any of the little apartments and you see like everyone has their own little identity within the apartment. It was so well done. So yeah, it's definitely an eye on the law for me.
Unlike the first one, I never just went, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, where you're just like, see people in futuristic clothes.
Yeah.
Or like I said, like
Recycled food, what is this?
yeah, just stuff like that. Because there's so many ways that I think that you can be subtle and bring in something big that like kind of hits you subconsciously.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure if they did it in this movie because I didn't catch it, but it wouldn't feel out of place to see posters and stuff in the background that say eat recycled food and just shit like that. And you don't have to comment on it because, okay, so I realize this movie's not realistic, but sometimes you have to have some sort of buy-in on a movie. Like you have to buy in, like professional wrestling. Like you have to believe the kayfabe just a touch for it to work. And so whenever, like, say all three of us were walking down the street on a normal day talking, do we talk about, man, it's crazy that we live in a dystopian future, right?
Yeah.
And eat recycled food.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that we eat recycled food? And what is this? Wow, that's a really large building. No, we live here.
Yeah.
So you don't find those. If you're in New York with a New Yorker, they're not just talking to you about the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Shit like that. And this movie does a great job of just going through, this is the world. This is how people look. We're not explaining it.
Yeah.
This is, we're just going, and
Like you were just dropped in.
we were just I mean, you basically totally were. I mean, he does, bring up, how we're here. There's a big mega city. There's like, I think 3 throughout the country, and the rest
They didn't
is,
say. All he said is this is Mega City 1
Is
or
that-
whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
But and that's where I feel like if they were going to do sequels, they probably would have explored this idea of other cities.
yeah, and then you would have to have just a different judge,
Yeah.
basically. Unless he's just like, well, I'm going to leave the curse. I'm going to
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
hundreds
who
of thousands
knows?
of miles to
Yeah.
the cursed earth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely I am the law on this.
Love it.
Because if not, I mean, if none of that worked like it did in the first movie,
Yeah.
then this would be a completely different experience. No matter how
Absolutely.
good the acting was, how good the pacing was, if everybody was wearing like Back to the Future 2 clothes, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where everybody's like, well, we're wearing the same clothes, but they got plastic rings around
Yeah.
them, and you're like, why? Why is that happening?
Yeah.
Why would anybody ever do that? Like I said for Judge Dredd, like you just the homeless people or whatever, the dredges.
Yeah. With
would
some
just
fancy thing.
yeah, well, they
like
were just like
dirty.
shredded clothes, but they had like
A
big
shoulder
patches
guard.
of
Yeah.
plastic. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Yeah. I go, I am the law here too. The only things that, again, I love the slow-mo thing, but I do
Yeah.
think there were like 2 instances where it was like, okay, that's enough.
Was
slow-mo.
one the bathtub scene?
Yes, that was overdone.
I
and then when
went
they're
overdone
throwing
on
them
that.
over. Yeah, I
I
just thought,
disagree.
I thought they were both great for the first 10 seconds. And then I was like, fuck, okay, let's do
The
it.
first thing it hit my
You
head with
TikTok minder.
I'm not a TikTok minder. My favorite movies, I have so many
You
movies.
have no attention span.
Dude, I have half the movies on my favorite list are like 3 hours long. What were you saying?
yeah, the scene in the bathtub. The only thing I could think of, I was like, they're stretching this out because there's something that had to be cut out. Like something had to be
Probably.
cut out. So they're
Yeah.
just like,
We need to hit an hour and a half, y'all.
They're
Yeah.
like, we already think that this is going to be the big next Sin City type of
Yeah.
like thing. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one thrown off the building, I liked.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that should be. That's a man's life we're talking
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just got fixated on the idea of like, well, when the mind expires or no longer. Yeah, anyway, that we already talked
But
about
even
that.
then, they kind of showed that when she hit the ground
Mhm.
and like, oh, that was a visceral.
The blood,
moment. Oh
that
my
was
God.
one of the coolest scenes
That
in the
was
movie.
fucking dope. That was one of the best like villain deaths I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's right up there with the Joker in the very first Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where you get to hear the laughing and stuff as you see him and
Yeah.
all that. It was pretty neat. Yeah.
very good. Yeah, but aside from that, I love the editing here. One of my biggest takeaways from this,
Transitions were insane.
yeah, the pace was great. Like, it was just boom, boom, boom the whole
Yeah.
time. Aside from those 2 slow-mos, like the rest of the movie is very much just like, and it's exactly what they were missing in the first one was like you just kept getting stuck in these slogs of
Yeah.
dialogue and you're meeting these internal board members and the desert. Like this movie knew what you said it perfectly. It knew what it was and it just kept going.
Yeah, you
and,
didn't have to explain the whole film like in the first one.
and I was
Yeah.
shocked when it was over. I was like, it's over?
Yeah.
Yeah. I quickly about the transitions because I forgot to mention this. Like every time it would like the moment where the 3 bodies hit the ground and then the dots start appearing and then it slowly is pulling out and you realize, oh, now we're on a digital map. Oh, now the map's expanded. Like they had a few of those throughout the whole movie that were just so seamless.
Yeah.
Like so beautiful. So
Really great.
masterful job, sirs and ladies.
Good job, Alex Garland.
You guys can keep your jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Too bad you made like 9 movies since this came
Yeah.
out. You didn't ask me about it. How good are these bad guys, huh? It's 5-0.
This was fantastic. I thought, again, like I said, with just the supporting cast in general, everybody was memorable, whether I can remember their names or not. The characters themselves were incredibly memorable. I love the fact that they had that moment where they had to decide if they were just going to kill the dude or let him go or keep taking him through the building with
Avon
them.
Barksdale?
Yeah. I like the other like big almost Russian kind of henchman that Dredd just throws off the balcony and then walks away. Lena Headey is obviously incredible.
Yeah.
Even down to like the random husband guy who got killed. Like
Yeah.
every single one of them had something that you were going to remember if you needed to. So yeah, I think way better than the original one. Like this just yeah, you kind of you root for them even while they're dying. You're like, yeah, there goes skinny guy.
Love
Well,
it.
I mean, the movie wouldn't, it's just like Batman. It wouldn't be good without a good villain.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you don't have a matchable villain,
Yeah.
or at least an overpowered villain,
Yeah.
then what's the point of having the hero's journey, the Peter Joseph thing?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm there with it too. And like I
Yep.
said, I even like this movie. I don't think I mentioned it on this podcast, but I liked this movie less than the first time I saw it and
Yeah.
still loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I was
absolutely.
just like, because I think I was watching it this time looking for the bad parts.
Yeah.
And of course, you go looking for trouble. You're gonna find it. Do you think? Have you guys watched Punisher Warzone?
No.
Mm-mm.
Never mind.
Mm.
You should.
Yeah.
It's this movie a lot.
Really?
This movie a lot. Except you can tell whenever production got their fingers into it, or not production, but like producers.
Is that Thomas Jane?
No, it's oh God, he's dead. Is it Ray Stevenson or something like that? He died like semi recently in the past 3, 4, 5 years.
Okay.
But he plays older Punisher. He's not young, good-looking Punisher. He is older, big, thick Punisher. Nice. And it hits the ground of the Mafia is having a dinner. And it sets it up a little bit, like where you know who this guy is. Another guy from The Wire, McNulty.
Oh, yeah.
From The Wire, whatever his name is. So there's another person with a Irish accent trying to do an American-Italian accent. Yeah. It does not work that great, but he's a good actor. And then you just have the Punisher go in and with a road flare, light a road flare after he knocks the power out and just decimates a fucking room.
I need to see that.
Dude, it is amazing.
Hell yeah.
But then you get in the middle.
Yeah. Then you get to the plot where they needed a story.
And they're just like, we got to keep this moving for people that don't know who the Punisher is. And I was like, you really don't. Just fucking move, man.
Just keep shooting people.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually really, really dug this. I'm all about villains, you know, from The Crow. Like, the reason I love The Crow is because each villain was just so cool. They had their own thing, the way they taught. Like,
they fired up, baby.
Yeah. It behooves. Yeah, hey, good quote.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. Sorry, it took me a minute.
Oh, you're talking to a man that still has a Crow t-shirt at home from the original movie that is basically rotted holes.
Nice.
But it's the only one of its kind that I can find.
Yeah.
I bought it at a skate shop in like 1994.
Nice.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
That's why the first series we did when we started Movie Wars back up was The Crow.
Yeah.
But I just think it behooves any film that's like this, like, spend more time on the villain.
Yeah.
And that's obviously, to me, was my biggest gripe was the first one. It's like, if I could have had a little more convincing of a villain, maybe I would have liked it better. But they had the toss into cannibals. It's like, well, our main villain's not bad enough, so we got to, like, just randomly have cannibals.
Yeah.
This, like, unique. I like how she played it, and I like that she had this backstory, and they didn't like drag us through the mud on it.
Nope.
You just
knew
enough
that you needed to know.
A tough whore who plays it soft, but the things she says are incredibly vicious. It was complex. Yeah. I dug it.
She started at the bottom. Now she's on the top. Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Literally. That's one tough whore. I just love saying that. 6-0, and this is going well for Dredd 2012. Your move, Punk. How is this interpretation of the cyberpunk aesthetic?
This is what I would want from any type of cyberpunk movie. Like, it's just grungy enough that you can feel the dirt. But I also could see the next movie dealing with some, like, elite class who lives at the top of some of these buildings.
Yeah.
Like, I could see it having some different pockets of the world that we weren't able to explore in this one. So, as kind of your lore category with some of the other movies, this made me want
good
more.
Lore.
Yeah, this made me want to go deeper into what this world could be. So it's definitely an eye on the law for me.
Yeah, that would have been a good category for this too.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the question again? Just to make sure, how cyberpunk was
Yeah,
it?
your move, Punk.
Yes. Okay, so if I'm going to compare it to other cyberpunk movies, and there's only two I can think of, and both of those are Blade Runner movies.
You can include, like, Cyberpunk the video game and, like, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Just the
RoboCop.
cyberpunk aesthetic.
RoboCop is kind of cyberpunky. I guess while I was watching, I never got a cyberpunk vibe.
Interesting.
As
Really?
odd as that feels. I really didn't. I guess just because all the technology was kind of just on Dredd himself.
Sure, but then you do have the Domhnall Gleeson guy that has the robot eyes. Like, every now and then people would have, and it was very subtle. Like, it definitely was just about as subtle as, like, Upgrade was. Where it's like only the one character has, like, the major upgrade, but you have a couple other characters.
Maybe that's the reason why I didn't think of it, because whenever I think of, like, the cyberpunk video game and cyberpunk just in general, I think of almost everybody being like, just with our phone. Like, this is our side. Would be cyberpunk to, like, 1965.
This is like the early onset. That's one thing Upgrade does really well. Is like it's like this is the early version of everyone being modified.
And this is, and I guess in this movie, as akin to that, would be like, this is the late middle version of it, where people don't necessarily can afford it or even have it, and only certain people have it, or maybe it's the early onset. I don't know.
Well, I almost got the vibe that it's like, as the early onset was about to explode into mid, is when the world went to hell and it was halted. So there's still only a little bit. and certain people have access to them.
Okay.
And I mean, again, this is just me pulling out of my ass. But
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
kind of the vibe
pull.
that I got from it.
And the warranty's expired.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like a cyberpunk movie to me. And maybe I can watch it again in a year or so, and I'll be like, I get it now. But I guess to me, it was always just a murderous romp of a movie that just happened to have a gun you could talk to.
That's fair.
So I guess I'll have to be the contrarian on this and
Sure.
just be like, yeah, this is not a cyberpunk movie. This is, I don't be judgy on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally get it. I did go positive on this one. I went, I am the law. And I one of my favorite thing was the buildings. I just, this idea of like, we have a giant population that's been misplaced and now they have to live in these giant, I just love that whole thing. And this is another thing the first one got really wrong, even though I tried not to compare them, but you know, they exposed us to this world at the beginning of Judge Dredd and then never tapped into it. If you think about it, actually, it's even funnier to me now that we're talking about this. And how funny was it that they gave us this world? Oh, that's interesting. But even at the halfway point, then they took us out to the desert.
Yeah.
They skipped over this whole world.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a second. Like you didn't pick a villain from this world. You didn't let us live in this and breathe this world. You took us out to the cursed land or whatever, the cursed earth.
Yeah.
Here, like we are living and breathing the negative aspects of this mega city thing. And to me, that was very cyberpunk. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's true. It's like a hybrid dystopian.
Yeah.
It's a weird mix, but I totally, I am the law here. So
yeah.
I feel like you could almost drop this movie with different circumstances and different technologies in like so many different eras.
Yeah.
Oh, and absolutely. It would work in each one. And I think that's the reason why I don't get the cyberpunk thing.
Yeah.
It's like if you try to do Blade Runner anywhere else but that era, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
And especially the new one with Ryan Gosling or whatever, which controversially I like better than the original.
Oh, no, I've heard many people have that opinion.
It's one of the highest rated sequels.
As it should be.
Of all time.
Because it moves better, it's less boring. Have you guys watched Blade Runner?
I've seen the first one. I started watching the second one and just couldn't watch it at the time, but I need to go back and finish it.
I dig them.
Yeah.
Huge
It's crazy how good that was. And I went into it kind of iffy because I wasn't a huge Blade Runner guy. And thanks to Movie Pass, once again, I just went, I'll just go watch this. And then I sat down and like, God, 17 hours later, it felt like I got up and went, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, really good.
But I think of that more as like a cyberpunk thing.
That makes sense.
These are really like the dystopian sci-fi cyberpunk thing, they bleed together so much. Yeah, they really do. Dystopian is the reason I didn't want to focus dystopian here is because that's such a giant
really
genre. I mean, there's the arcade. We got into this because we did Mad Max, and then we did what was the last
Brazil.
one? We did Brazil, and like there's the technological, there's the authoritarian, but there's also the anarchical. Like dystopian is like this giant world. Yeah, you know.
I mean,
it's like saying
Hunger Games is considered dystopian.
Yeah, it's like saying like, what kind of music do you like? Rock. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Which of the thousands of subgenres are we talking about?
Are we talking Chuck Berry or are we talking
Metallica or are we talking Slipknot?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you could argue with this inflation. Like, we have dystopia right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, true. I mean, to certain certain people, we are living in a nightmarish hellscape.
Yeah.
We are living in a Cormac McCarthy.
Eggs are $17 a dozen.
Yeah. Well, at least you don't have to eat while you're listening to the Movie Wars podcast. Yeah, 7-0, the rare clean sweep, and I would never have seen it coming for Dredd. I had refused to watch Dredd because I was so mad at Sylvester Stallone for making the first one.
Yeah.
And I just totally was like, I'm not going to watch another one of these. I know. It's so weird to have this experience where I ignored it on purpose, and then I was like, damn.
Yeah.
You're
welcome.
Yeah, you're no. Yeah, and also this debunks the whole I pick a movie and you shit on it. I love this.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's been a couple. There's been a couple that you don't.
Yeah, but there's been a couple that I do.
Your wife liked Tintin, so I'm right.
Oh yeah, it's true. And she on a regular basis reminds me that I enjoy really depressing shit.
She brings life into this world, so I go with her.
Yeah. I also think you're similar though to her because like you don't tend to like depressing shit as much as I do.
You are wrong with that. Sir.
Really?
Oh my god.
See, I thought it was because I like depressing shit.
Have you seen No. Have you seen Melancholia?
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, I love it.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, that's Von Trier before Von Trier Von Triered.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What else did Von Trier do?
Antichrist, don't watch
Antichrist, Nymphomaniac, House That Jack Built, Dogville.
Dancer in the Dark.
I would keep falling asleep during Antichrist. I swear to God, I bet I've watched it 3 times.
How drunk are you? Because
extreme.
I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep when I watched it.
Yeah.
There was these visuals that I could not get out of my brain.
I tuned out whenever they say they weren't going to show Willem Dafoe's dong.
Yeah, I know they got a
He's got a
stunt dong.
stunt cock in there,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
like, "Can't I bring a book?"
Yeah. Motherfucker's apparently too much of a monster with that hog.
Yeah, too bad he doesn't have a face to match.
Unfortunately, there is pictures that show it on the internet because one day I just went, "What's the big deal with this?"
You were like,
Not necessarily the
"Oh."
dick, but they were just like, he won't do nudes or
Yeah.
like they can't do nudes. I was like, what the fuck? And then just like one picture. I was like, God damn. I was like, that's insane.
What if it's because he actually has two of them?
Yeah, 2 days.
That was the only thing left from the twin that he ate in the womb. He got both dicks.
The first one ate
But the
second
first
one.
one's so big, he has to move it out of the way to see the regular one.
Yeah, this is my reserve. Well, this went a great direction. Well, dude, it was so good to have you, man.
Thanks for having me.
You're one of the-
Also, thank you for bringing me on for an A+ movie that sucked and a B- movie to a lot of people that ruled.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Well, we love y'all. Don't let the dystopian world fall upon you. I'm Kyle.
I'm Seth.
Josue.
I love y'all. Good.
Fuck.
Movie Wars.